There's literally a question. You'll get there. We'll get there.
Oh, am I going to be surprised? I should
You're
point
going to
out.
be surprised.
I should point out I have not read the question.
You're going to be surprised. It's not about the question's not about a painting, but I had to figure out what the fuck she was talking about.
Oh,
and it's
This
about
is
a
good
painting.
to know. I don't think I know this. Okay. I'm just talking to the chat, so you guys can ignore me.
I've seen previews for Paradise like on TikTok, I think.
I mean, I just don't think I've ever. I mean, I love Sterling K. Brown. I love Julianne Nichols. Like, I'm sure I would remember if I had watched it. Maybe this is something we talked about where I was like, ooh, I'm excited to watch that. But like, I just haven't because I canceled Hulu because I'm trying to get better about not just leaving subscriptions open for every month and realizing like, I haven't even opened that app in 3 months.
We just realized we have 2 Disney Plus accounts.
Oh, I'm sure I have. I probably have doubles.
We don't know.
I bet you I have doubles of something.
Yeah.
I had the same thing at one point because when we signed up for Verizon or something, there was like some deal. This was a couple years ago, but it was like you can get Disney Plus or whatever for free with your Verizon account. And I already had a Disney Plus account, so it was supposed to like connect the two, but it didn't somehow, and it made a different one that I never even knew how to log into. But I just noticed on my Verizon bill, I only made it like 2 months before I caught it on my Verizon bill. I'm like, why am I paying $10 a month for Disney Plus, and I'm also paying it over here?
Yeah.
And then I was like, it's the same thing. But yeah, if I keep up this this reading business, I'm gonna just throw the TV in the trash because I'm a big old reader now. It's
Erica, thank you for the recommendation. Yeah, I whatever it was that I said, it wasn't this, but it looks great. It looks like it's right up my alley. So I will totally check it out. I'm trying to remember what I would have said I was watching last week that you would have thought was Paradise. Now I'm curious about that too.
Books do better than melatonin for me.
Put you to sleep
right away.
Oh man, I've been
done.
We have it's the Dream Cocoa. I can't remember what the freaking name of it is. I just read the ad for it today. Hang on.
Dream Cocoa.
Oh, it's so good, and it's like my favorite thing to do at night now. Beam. Oh, and I had them as a sponsor before, but they're back, so they sent me a couple of them. But yeah, it's like 15 calories and no sugar, but it's like hot cocoa. And it's got melatonin and 5 other things in it that I don't know how to pronounce. They're just like they're all like meant to like catch you like, and of course my ring like tracks my sleep, and they're meant to like control different parts of your sleep cycle. And dude, I make myself a cup of hot cocoa, get into bed, turn the TV on, drink my hot cocoa, and it's like I'm out and sleep like a baby. Like hit it's my
interesting.
It's my favorite. And they have they used to only have like a chocolate cinnamon flavor, which it was all right, but cinnamon's not really my thing. But now they have a brownie batter flavor.
Whoa,
that sounds right up your alley.
Yeah,
it's real good.
Yeah.
Also,
nothing blue though.
Nothing blue, but also Soul, who does the out of office gummies. When I took the gummy on here when I was having a bad day one day.
Yeah, I do remember that.
They make drinks now, and I actually try. I'm always scared of like anything like that.
That drink that I had in the Berkshires got me hard.
These are microdosed.
we were watching that Anna Kendrick
show,
serial killer movie.
Oh
thing,
yeah.
And I drank
the dating game. Yeah,
I drank a THC drink while we were there because we got one, and I don't remember how the movie ended.
Yeah, that's what I'm afraid of because Becky had one. Her mom will drink these like THC drinks sometimes, and she gave Becky one time, and Becky drank it, and then like she fell asleep while we were watching a show, and then I remember or she at least had her eyes closed, and I turned the TV off, and I like just kind of shook her awake. I'm like, babe, ready to go to bed? And she opened her eyes and she looked like this. She was like like her eyes were this big, and she's like, I'm like, what are you doing? And she's like, I don't know. I'm like, are you okay? She's like, I don't think so.
Oh no.
Yeah, so I'm always afraid of them. But these are what I like the Soul gummies because they're like a microdose. It's like 2.5 milligram or something. And I had one of the drinks and it was just chill. Don't feel anything. I don't want to feel. That's why I don't like getting drunk. I don't like to feel out of it. But it's just kind of like, that's real chill. I'm just a chill, cool guy. That's what I am. Guy. I'm a chill, cool guy.
Okay. Erica, I will check out Unbiased podcast.
That's a podcast. Janelle said she had the Beam sea salt and caramel flavor.
That sounds good.
Yeah, it does. They didn't send me that one. They sent me the brownie batter and the chocolate cinnamon one, and I've been all about the brownie batter one.
I mean, that sounds scrumptious, and I am using that word seriously. That seems like the right time to use that word, scrumptious.
Also, hear me out. Like, imagine like laying in bed, getting ready to go to bed, and the last thing you're having is just a hot cup of hot cocoa while you're laying in bed, ready to go to sleep. It's just like so, like it's like the most like comforting,
and like it kind of triggers the little kid feeling of like I don't have to worry about anything because I'm still a kid.
Yeah. Get a little droopy. We're rewatching Arrested Development right now. It's one of my favorites.
Fun.
And have my during one 22-minute episode, I have my Beam hot cocoa, and then take the old glasses off, and Bobby's out. And I'm so much more comfortable right now because don't tell Becky. But so we have the old people beds, the ones that you can tilt up and down.
Mm-hmm.
She never tilts her sides. She was so excited about it. She did it for like a week and never did it again. But I always, like, when we're laying in bed watching TV, I like tilt my back up and my feet up so I can watch the TV, and then I lay it back down flat before I go to bed. But I've been doing that. We've had this bed since we moved into this house. Actually, no, we had it in the old house. We've had it for like 7 years. In the mattress, there's like a spring, like, because it's kinked all the time. Because then when in the morning, I'll turn it up and I'm watching the news too, and I'll leave it up like that all day. And it was like bugging me. And so I was washing the sheets this weekend, and Becky wasn't in the room, and I switched the bed around.
Oh no!
Listen, in my defense,
she is so gonna hear about that.
In my defense, the part that was poking me is now like in her like knee pit. It's because I twisted it like 180 degrees, and she hasn't noticed. She hasn't been like, oh, there's something wrong with the bed. And I blame her because I told you we bought a couch last week. And I said, and when after we get this couch, we need to save up. The next thing we need to do is we need to replace that mattress because it's bugging me. She's like, our mattress is fine. Well, how fine is it now, Becky? How fine is it now? With your knee pit with a spring sticking into it.
Oh, Zach can't wait to tell Michelle and Becky about this.
I'm curious if Mrs. Weaver is watching because
no, Michelle, no, Michelle.
Michelle, do it. Tell her quick.
No, listen, what she doesn't know won't hurt her.
So Michelle says, usually she'll just she's like, I turn on the live and watch until you guys get started with the episode. Then I turn it off.
Yeah, watch the fun stuff.
Yeah,
but not the.
I can't
want to see what you guys are doing.
Oh, I think I hear a plumbing issue out there. I'll be right back.
That being said, I could maybe check my own plumbing issue. I don't want to leave you.
It's fine.
I guess I'll go when he gets back.
It's fine.
No, because I haven't even talked to you. I don't even know what you've been doing over there.
I don't know either. I've just been letting you guys talk about books.
Just bullshit.
Just go.
Oh, we went.
You went to books and then politics, and I'm like, that's not either of them. That's not my world. And either, I'm done.
I know, but Tool Girl's right. We have missed you. And then
I'm really sorry I missed your birthday.
We're just like,
I feel awful.
It's okay. Don't feel awful. Please don't feel awful.
We were at a hockey tournament.
Don't feel awful.
I was just gung ho on. I was coaching, and I'm just gung ho on like, what do I have to do to get these kids to go?
I don't blame you at all. I have missed many a birthday because whatever I was doing started like the second I got up, and I like, what you're doing that day, so you're not looking at your calendar. You're just like plowing through the day. Like it's not. It does not bother me at all.
Bothers me a lot.
That makes me love you, but I want you to take that and let it go. Know that it's very sweet to me that it bothers you, and now you can not be bothered by it because we're totally good.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
She says that she blames Bob for not reminding me, but it's fine.
Smart.
I would blame him too.
How dare you, Teresa?
You don't even know what we're talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You think that I didn't remind you? Like it's my job to tell you to text Janet on her birthday?
Things. My son's birthday's tomorrow. My oldest.
Do I need to text you and remind you to tell him happy birthday?
If you had dropped your happy birthday to me into our group chat, that would have triggered Zach just being like, that's right, happy birthday.
Yeah. Do you think that's something I would do?
You purposefully texted me as an individual to make sure.
Yeah, I wanted you to feel special.
And then the text I got 2 days later says, what time did you text Janet? Happy birthday. And then I just replied one word. One word with extra letters.
Yeah.
Lots of extra letters. That's exactly how I felt too.
It
That was
makes for a fun
100% like
You know, we were live when he did that, right?
I bet.
I had
Yeah.
asked her, I'm like, did Zach text you? And she's like, Zach didn't text me. That's it.
You were very present last week. Don't worry, because half the entire time we were just reading texts from you or talking about you.
I mean, I audibly did that. As soon as I saw your text, I just went, fuck.
Oh, that's
Some of us
enough
are
for
good
me.
friends. Some of us are bad friends.
I was so proud.
That's
I have
fine.
it in my phone. I was like all proud of myself. I'm like, I
No.
got it. I just didn't turn an alert on. I'm doing that next time.
No sweat.
So from a year from now,
Don't you let him off the hook. Don't you?
I
All right, we
really
need to
let him
end
off
this. We
the
need to
hook.
start the big show. Time to start the big show. Pre-gamers.
That being
Love you
said,
guys. We'll talk to you next
love you
week.
guys. Thanks, everybody.
bye guys.
But I do have to check up on one quick thing because I was staying with Zach, so I wasn't by himself, even though he did not need me to or want me to do that.
Do you have a plumbing issue? Thumbs up from JV. No, we'll just wait for her to come back and stare at her empty. Look at her chair. Look at that fancy ass chair.
I know I got a chair that doesn't even have wheels and it creaks.
Yeah.
Does yours have wheels at least?
Yeah.
How do you have a wheelchair? Why do I have not? You have a chair that has wheels? I have this chair that you got stuck out there.
Well, because I'm in it several times a week and it creaks and it makes noise when I'm recording.
I'm in it once a week.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
I can't roll.
Quit bitching. I'm jealous of her chair. I just bought a new chair for the school, an ergonomic chair, because like that was my chiropractor's like, I think this part of your back problem is you're sitting on your ass in that chair and you need a better one. But Janet's ergonomic chair, it's just discussing when you had your chair turned profile, how comfortable that chair looks. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted.
I like this better. She just keeps going. Yeah.
Now you're just being an asshole.
This is a chair that got relegated to out here because I got a better chair for my desk, but then I never sit at my desk anymore. So I should bring the even more comfortable chair out here. But this is a good, this is a good one.
I was like, I just ordered a new one I got a new one a couple weeks ago for work when I was having all the back problems.
That's right. I remember you ordered that.
Yeah. And it's similar to that. It's like a mesh and it's ergonomic, but that one, of course, you have the neck issues, but that one looks like it really. The problem is the thing for the neck is I'm never at my desk with my head back there. I'm always like hunched over.
Well, that's the thing though, is that that's like when I'm recording with you guys, one of the things I try to do is push the back of my head into this to help my problem, because part of what's my problem is like craning in to like see or hear or be animated, like be involved. So if you just if I remember to, I'm like, okay, just don't move.
Right. That seems like a good idea. Yeah.
Damn it.
At all. Are we ready to record?
Yeah.
All right. Say when.
When.
Not you.
Now.
Stupid.
Context.
When. Recording.
You don't get to clap. You sit there and don't clap. Fuck, son of a bitch. 1, 2, 3. All right.
I was gonna clap like 2 seconds late. Just totally fuck Erica's day tomorrow. Ahoy, friends. Thank you for tuning in to Truth and Justice. The Zach Attack is back, and you are listening to the Friday follow-up for Season 16, Episode 11. This week, Bob was joined by Dakota and Josh from the Somewhere in the Pines podcast. They discussed their journey in working with the FBI to discover and identify caches left behind from serial killer Israel Keys. I am back in studio along with Bob Ruff and Janet Varney, and the three of us are going to dive into your listener questions and theories. But before we get into that, Bob, I hear you have some exciting news for us.
2 things.
One take.
I was say one take Jake over there. Did you guys hear that? I know you guys, as you're listening to this podcast, you don't know that it's going to sound the same as normal. But for those that are watching live, that was impressive. Zach got that all in one take. 2, I was really looking forward to you making a nice Israel Keys into the student podcast segue. And for all of you just listening, the dejected look on Zach's face. It was his idea. I'll do it, Zach. Don't worry about it, buddy. Yeah, so we've been talking for months and months about my investigative journalism students, that they are going to be putting their podcast together for the cases they've been investigating, one of which ties in nicely to this episode, right, Zach?
It does.
Yeah. Why is that?
Why is that? Do you want to go into that right now, or do you want to talk about your students' podcast?
So one of the cases that my students are covering is has been listed as a potential victim of Israel Keys.
Yeah, which happens to also be local to us, which
Yeah.
is Stephen Kraft.
Yep. Stephen Kraft's case, which is just right around the corner from us, which is why my students were working on it, or are working on it. So we have established the feed. You can subscribe now. Anywhere, I believe it's out everywhere you get your podcast now. It's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere. A little tricky to find because the podcast is called Underestimated, and there are several podcasts called Underestimated. So ours is called Underestimated Bobcat Media, because that's our school mascot. We may drop that later because as like it gets searched more and gets more mature in the feed, then it'll be easier to find. But right now it's going to be like the
Nope. I typed in under ES, like I only had gotten to that, and it's the very first thing that came up on my Apple.
Awesome. That means a lot of people are searching for it right now, because the more people search for it, the more it moves up in the results. But it's Underestimated Bobcat Media. You'll be able to find it there. We have the trailer out now. The first episode is going to drop on March 12th. One of our groups has, I think as of today, they all have all of their first three. So the way it's going to work, there's 5 groups. Each group has a case they're working on, and the plan is for them all to release 6 episodes about their case. What we're doing right now is all 5 groups are going to release 3 episodes. Great. And then as those are getting released, they're going to be making their next 3 for the follow-ups to those. And the first one should be dropping on March 12th. We're at the point where we're ready to put music on it. All the editing is done, so we're super excited about that. And on Janet's suggestion, which I think is a good one, we're going to go ahead and play you the trailer here so you can get an idea of what you're going to be listening to. And I was going to go on telling you more about it, but it kind of gets explained in the trailer. So if you guys are ready,
don't cry, Zach. Don't cry, Zach. Don't cry, Zach.
Let's do this. All right. See if I can press the right button. And here is the trailer for Underestimated. My name is Bob Ruff. For the last 10 years, I've worked in the true crime space as a podcaster, documentarian, and producer. Many of you know me from my work on the Truth and Justice podcast or the Oxygen original docuseries, The Forgotten West Memphis 3. But 2 years ago, I embarked on a new endeavor. I took a job teaching broadcast journalism at Brandywine High School in Niles, Michigan. After a full school year spent teaching teenagers how to create audio and video content, I realized that these young adults are capable of so much more than people give them credit for. And I wanted to give them the chance to prove their worth to the world. In August of 2024, our investigative journalism class began, the first of its kind. On day 1, I shared our mission with the students. A simple mission: make a difference in the world. 30 students broke up into 5 groups, and their first job was to find a mystery that exists outside of our school walls, outside of their bubble. A mystery that they can spend the school year investigating and unraveling. And they got to work immediately.
A killer on the loose and a family left without answers. Jeanette Robertson's murder in Reed City has gone unsolved for more than a quarter century. We looked into the case with state police and spoke to Jeanette's family about the lack of...
continues to baffle investigators.
Mitch Minkowski was a substitute school teacher who disappeared without a trace. But even after nearly 3 decades now, her family and investigators have never stopped looking or hoping. And tonight,
Janice Sanders disappeared from Niles in 1975, never to be seen again. And now investigators are digging into her disappearance and any possible connection to a South Bend woman last seen 2 years earlier in 1970.
Year anniversary of the disappearance of 12-year-old Stephen Kraft of Benton Township. He disappeared from his neighborhood back in 2001. Police had no idea back then what happened to him. Today, not much has changed.
This week marks 10 years since the disappearance of 3 brothers from our area, Tanner, Alexander, and Andrew Skelton. Police believe their father, John, did something terrible to them back in 2000.
5 groups, 5 cold cases. For the last 6 months, these students have been putting in the work. They did all the research. They filed all the FOIA requests. They made connections with witnesses and experts and interviewed them. They wrote the scripts, recorded the episodes, did all of the editing. The music and artwork was created by students. They even hit the streets and secured advertisers to help fund their own work. From beginning to end, this journey that you're about to embark on has been entirely led and created by students, teenagers, by that generation that so many have written off as useless and self-absorbed. As their teacher, I am so incredibly proud of this group of young adults and the work that they're doing. And we are just days away from sharing that work with the world.
They think we're lazy. They think we're weak-willed.
They think we're entitled.
They think we're selfish.
They think we don't care about anybody but ourselves. We are compassionate.
We are resourceful. We are capable.
We want to make a difference in the world.
We are underestimated.
Welcome to the Underestimated Podcast, a title aptly chosen by the students. The podcast will premiere on Wednesday, March 12th. As the season progresses, the students will be publishing 3 episodes, part 1 of their series. The first 3 episodes will be covering the tragic disappearance of 3 brothers from southern Michigan. So make sure that you subscribe to the show so you don't miss anything. The journey begins on March 12th. All right.
Yes.
Sounds great.
There it
It's
is.
so exciting.
I see a bunch of people in the chat saying that they're tearing up and crying.
Yeah.
I have a real hard time every time. So the bit where you hear the students saying, where the students talking, that part when the girl at the end that says we are underestimated, like it gets me every time, no matter how many times I've heard it.
Kidding?
It's just a little bit. So that's going to be that bit of it that I played in there where you heard the student. That is going to be the intro song for it, and that was created by a student named Haley that did all the music. The students are in there, and just a little behind the scenes for you guys. How the intro was made. I sat them all in the recording studio and I had them just getting up and down out of the chairs. And I said, okay, I want all of you guys to sit down and I want you to think about how older generations look at your generations. And I want you just to sit down and say, they think we are, and then say something. And so one after another, they sat down. They think we're this. They think we're this. They think we're this. And I said, all right, now I want you to sit back and tell us who you are. I want you to say we are, and then you fill in the blank. And they went, and that's where the name Underestimated came from. When they're all going through. Obviously, there was a lot more than like the 8 of them that you heard, but they're going through. We are this, we are that, we are resourceful, we want to make a difference in the world, so on and so forth. And then Stephanie sat down and said, we are underestimated, and we're like, that's the name of the podcast. There it is.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah. So super duper excited about that. Subscribe, share it with your friends, give them a listen. I'm so desperately wanting, when we drop the first episodes, for my students to look and see that tens of thousands of people listen to their work. Like they're all like super excited about it. They don't believe me that it could happen. They're like, no, we're just students doing this. I'm like, I don't think so. I think that you can get a lot of attention and bring a lot of attention to the cases. They're all going to have their own, their own segments, right? So they'll come out and like one of them, they're covering 3 different missing persons cases from the same area. It started off them looking into one, and they found another one they think might be connected, and they found 2 more they think might be connected, and so they started working. So they started working on this series of cases, and I just love it. I was talking to Gracie, is the name of the girl that is leading that group, and she said, we're going to call our segment Voiceless, because if we do nothing else, we're going to give them their voices back.
Oh, yeah. This is really, really great. Oh, me too. And I don't even know them.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
really exciting. It's really, really exciting.
All right, moment of Zach levity for here. When the music drops and you started talking in the trailer, I immediately looked at you because I thought you were explaining what was going on. And I was like, oh, still the trailer. Still
Yeah.
the trailer.
Yeah.
I've already heard the trailer and I still did it.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll move on from that, but I know everybody's been asking about it. I'm super excited about it. Like this, to me, like my, my favorite accomplishment of this year of everything that I've done is seeing these students. And we were talking about in the pregame. I'll stop talking about my kids here in a minute, but I'm just so amazed by them.
That's great.
We had a school board meeting last night on Monday night, and it's CTE month, which is Career and Technical Education month, which is what my class is. And the superintendent asked if we could bring some students to talk about it, and two of my students like just stood up, and there were two, Stephanie and Gracie, two of them that I just mentioned, like went to the board meeting and stood up and made speeches to the board talking about what we're doing in class and how it's impacted their lives. And I'm just sitting back thinking, I've had them both for I've had Gracie for 2 years, I've had just Stephanie throughout this year, but both of them just happened to be students that were like just very like quiet. Like if you didn't talk to them, they were going to kind of fade into the background. And like now, like they're so bold and strong, and they're like, not only are they leading their groups, but they're standing up and speaking in front of crowds like that. Like it's been so cool to watch. Even though these kids turn out to be investigative journalists, they go out and do something else. Just seeing like they've had this life experience has been an incredible journey for me. So with that being said, I guess we got to do our job now and talk about this one. I mean it when I say that I really want to go hang out with Josh and Dakota. Like I want to go backpacking with them. I feel like I'm going to make that happen. I'm going to hook up with them and go backpacking this summer and just go camp out in the mountains somewhere.
Well, you got at least one listener who is super gung ho about it too. Teresa's like, when's the camping trip meet up? Let's do this.
Yeah, let's do it.
Gotta get in there.
So what do you guys think of Josh and Dakota? Janet, I know you're already a fan of their podcast.
Yeah, I do listen to their podcast. Yeah. Well, no. Oh, you want me to go first? Yeah. I mean, I thought it was great. I'm very familiar with it. It's fun to hear from them and kind of like what their inspirations in terms of media were. It sounds like you kind of hit the sweet spot of like things that it reminded you of, and they were like, well, yes, and yes, like those are the things we were thinking about, which was great. I was like podcasters talking shop. But yeah, I'm really impressed with what they've been able to do. I think it's interesting, like just the inception of the podcast feeling a little bit more casual, not necessarily, but just when they're like, we kind of want to do something that's like gives you like that's kind of spooky feeling when you're in the woods, but also be doing something that's helpful. Yeah. I just the sort of men who were thinking along those lines when they started doing it did not expect to be having like incredibly meaningful conversations with the FBI and like breaking news to the world about certain elements of the Keys case. I mean, it's just extraordinary.
It's so incredible to me that like that connection to the FBI is so incredible, and I love the fact that, as we talked about on the show in the interview, that like I love it anytime. It's the whole like principle behind Truth and Justice too, right? It's like it's ordinary people coming in and making an impact, the outsiders, and like that's Josh and Dakota, right? They're just outsiders to the system. They're just ordinary folks like the rest of us, and they're making a real impact, and it's just that's awesome. Zach, before you talk real quick, I just want to point. I don't know if this is breaking right now.
It is 48 minutes ago. I was literally about to write it down to pass it to you.
I'm looking at it too.
Yeah, so by the time you guys hear this on Friday, there'll be much more known about it. But I'm just seeing in our live chat, and Zach and Janet are looking it up. But it seems that Ivan Bates has dropped the motion to vacate Adnan's conviction. So I don't know anything about it other than that right now. So had he made, I don't think he had made a new motion to do that, right? That motion just existed that they were going to relitigate.
Yeah.
Is what was going on.
So it looks like he released a statement saying that after thorough review, the motion to vacate judgment filed by the previous administration in the case against Adnan Syed, my office has determined it contains false and misleading statements that undermine the integrity of the judicial process.
Oh, so your source on that obviously is going to be Rabia. I did see right before I came on, I did see on Instagram, must have been right about time this stuff was about to break, She had said that there was going to be a live on, I think, Wednesday or Thursday. I guess there's a hearing coming up. She said that her and Colin are going to do an episode on the undisclosed feed to talk about the latest development. So by the time you hear this, everyone will know more than we know. We had just heard, what was it, just a few weeks ago, that Ivan Bates was in support of Adnan not going to back to prison. I think he had talked about, basically changing the sentence to time served. So regardless of the outcome, Adnan's not going back to prison. But now it seems like they will, from what I'm reading right now, which is happening like in real time, it sounds like they're not going to be litigating to overturn the conviction again right now. So that's disappointing. And we'll hear more about that later. I don't want to ramble on it too much because we don't really know what's happening right now. With that, we'll try to snap back into what we were talking about, which is this episode. Zach,
loved it. Meeting those guys in the Berkshires was really cool. Dakota and Josh, both really, really nice guys. This is a fun podcast. I've been listening to it as well, and kind of hearing that boots on the ground, them tromping around and them talking about it. It's a fun podcast to listen to.
Yeah.
I don't know if fun is the correct word that I want to say, but
I think it is
interesting.
Like, the campfire conversations are my favorite. I haven't listened to a lot of, I've listened to several episodes, but I'm certainly not caught up to date. You guys know I don't listen to a lot of true crime stuff as it is. I don't have a lot of time to listen to anything. But yeah, I just love that. That, as we talked about, that David Ridgen kind of styling.
Absolutely.
And when they're, just kick back around the campfire and just have stuff rolling and real organic conversations are happening. I just absolutely love that. And with that being said, sorry for all you listeners, our rug kind of just got yanked out from underneath us.
Yeah.
Right,
sorry.
Starting this.
I'm just trying to figure out. Because there's like a memo, there's like an 88-page memo. So I'm just, of course, immediately I'm like, where's the memo? Can we read the memo? What's the memo say?
No, I'm sure we'll see it soon. But for now, let's go ahead and let's get through the questions for this episode. Then we'll circle back to this. I may talk about it a little bit on Sunday if I know anything more.
Yeah. Sorry, now I'm reading the chat as well. So in terms of Josh and Dakota, not a ton of questions about this particular episode. There's some other things that people have questions about, but Lilius was asking if there were any updates on the carousel or caracol. I can never remember how you say that. From that was discussed and revealed at the Berkshire Podcast Festival, and they've definitely done a whole mini series. I think they mentioned it in the interview with you. About that particular piece of evidence and kind of how they treated it and all the different ways that they tried to look at it and get people to weigh in on it, including the profilers that they described on your podcast, the group that has their own podcast as well, who actually, some of whom investigated while Keyes had been arrested, like they were on that case. And so there is, I mean, other than what you hear on their podcast about it, I don't know of any new developments other than just the kind of analysis that's available out there on their kind of special mini series covering that. But it's interesting. It's really interesting. In particular, I would point to the conversation they had with the profilers about it. It's a great conversation. Yeah,
you're definitely a better source on that than me.
Yeah, it's definitely a good conversation. Yeah, I'll be interested to hear if there is a lot of conversation in the kids podcast in Underestimated, like how deeply they get into it and if they're exploring other possible suspects and people of interest and stuff like that. I'm really, really interested to see how those things are going to kind of cross over each other.
Yeah, well, there's going to be some crossover. You're going to hear from Josh Hallmark because they interviewed him about the connection. You're going to hear from Josh Hallmark, Jim Clementi, Nina Instead, Mike Morford. Like, there's a lot of other podcasters that have zoomed into the class to talk about some of the cases and connections they have to them. Jenny Decker.
Yeah, great. Okay, and then let's see, what else do we have? Well, I mentioned the camping trip meetup. I think that would be really cool. There's also a question about our season. We're still going to have people who are thinking about Jody, thinking about where we're headed with that. So someone Chris W is wondering if contact was made with DeMario's friends or family, having that respectful eagerness to know more about him. But I don't know if that falls into the category of like it seems like that's all kind of under the umbrella right now of like you kind of had to stop working on stuff because of what the
Well, yeah, but
ongoing
not that
thing.
part.
Okay.
So the issue with them DeMario's, I made many attempts to reach out to members of DeMario's family, both on the streets, knocking on doors, sending out emails, Facebook messages for people that anybody who's connected in any way to DeMario, and was not able to ever connect with any of those people. So like that was a big one that I wanted to hear from someone that was part of DeMario's family, was just never able to do that. So that came before the AG's office took
Gotcha.
over with the conviction integrity unit. But that was one of the things that was frustrating for me. But it wasn't for lack of effort. We actually had one where, like, when Erica and I were like out on the streets, talking and knocking on doors, and we had made some connections and knew where some, I don't remember what it was, a relative of DeMario's, and we knew like where they lived, and they were on the phone, and we're like cool. It was like right down the street, and like, can we come by and talk to you guys for a few minutes? And they had said yeah. And then as we're like gathering up our stuff, they called back and said, actually, we don't want to talk to to anybody. So we never got a chance to talk to any of those folks. But yeah, that's been a little frustration for me too. But as far as Jody's case goes, like right now, we're in the dark, which I think is a good thing. We know the conviction integrity unit is working on the case. We know they have gone, I believe, twice to, maybe I'm wrong about that, whether it was twice or it was along the two different people. But I've been to talk to Jody. They're actively working on it. And the assurance that I had from the rep at the conviction integrity unit that I spoke to was, if we wrap up our investigation and we're done and we're not going to do anything, then we will definitely, because we had a good working relationship, sharing documents and discussing the lead, passing on leads that we found. And I told them that we would back off while they were doing their thing. And they said, they appreciated that. And if they finish their investigation and they're done with it, they're not doing anything, that they will let me know. You're free to go. We're done with our thing. And I have not heard back from that. I have not heard that that's the case. And the person I was talking to, I trust them. I think that they're doing their absolute best on it. And if they were done with it, then I would have heard back from them from now, or already at this point. So as far as I know, they're still pushing forward with Jody's case. Yeah, Teresa just said in the chat, who Teresa goes and visits Jody pretty regularly, said that 4 people went to see Jody altogether, and interviewed them for over 4 hours.
That's not nothing.
Right? Something's happening.
Something is happening for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Jesse had a question about, or just was wondering about what we think about the Gabby Petito doc, if we happen to have watched it on Netflix. I have not watched it. I actually know very little about that case. I'm unfortunately not able to add much.
After watching it, in my opinion, there wasn't a ton of new information in the documentary. At least I didn't feel like there was a ton of information that we didn't already know. And they're asking about the boyfriend's parents, if they're culpable, if there's any culpability to their whereabouts, and what. It's hard to say, truthfully.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the parents knew that there was more going on there. At some point they said they didn't know where Brian was, and clearly they knew where he was. But I don't know if it's culpability or if it's just them trying to protect their child because they think he's innocent.
Both. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't watched the documentary, so I don't know. But I know all I know is when it was happening, and details were kind of being released after Gabby's body was found, and we were, as the thing was unfolding, that was my thought, was because there was, the thing that got me was that he had left and went all the way back. It was Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like went all the way back to Florida and then went back again. Like, and his parents were saying they didn't know where he was. We know they did know where he was. It's like something's fishy there. Yeah. So I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't have a clue. And also, I would just caution anybody from watching a documentary and then forming a real strong opinion, because you just don't know. I mean, they're all different. Obviously, I'm a documentarian. I've done documentaries, and we try to do our best to be as fact based as possible. But I've also been involved with other documentarians that don't have those same ethics. So and they want to spin a story. So just make sure you're fact checking everything before you form real strong opinions. And I'm not putting any kind of shade on these people that made this. I have no idea. I don't know who made it. I don't know anything about it. I'm just saying, just in general,
a blanket good
careful.
rule of thumb.
I felt it was pretty straightforward. It was well put together. I don't think there was anything, but there was not a ton of new information, or very little information that I saw that I didn't already know from just it happening live when it going through it. So, but I thought it was good. I wouldn't throw any shade on it because I don't think they pushed a super strong opinion on anything because we know basically what happened.
Yeah. Just another update. Teresa is just kind of explaining a little more about who visited Jody. She says they were all lawyers. There's 4 of them. One from the Conviction Integrity Unit, the Attorney General's office, some lawyer with a connection to law enforcement as well, maybe like an oversight or ethics department, which that makes me excited, especially in that case. She said no media people in the interview, just with Jody, just the lawyers.
Got it. So interesting. It would be exciting to be a fly on the wall for those conversations, but I'm glad that they're happening at all. That's great. The only other thing that we have today coming in from Facebook is a questioning about the West Memphis 3 DNA testing from Veronica.
Yeah, so that's kind of been an ongoing saga. As you guys know, I've been kind of hinting at things. There's been some stuff that's been tweeted out. Today, the day we're recording this, the 25th, there was supposed to be an order signed for everything to be going out the door to get tested. That's been postponed. So that's when you see like Damien's been tweeting about things a couple times here and there. That's what's been going on. There's been delays. There's lots of lawyers involved. There's still more detail about how there's a lot more to this than what's been shared. I'm super excited about it. Damien's super excited about it. Lori's super excited about it. I really think that we're going to get this thing solved through what's happening right now, but it's just constant delays. I was told last night that the prosecutor was sick and couldn't be there today, and so that was the delay. But so when you see Damien just tweeting that things are postponed or delayed, or and I think he even said in his tweet that things were it's postponed / canceled again. I think that's a lot of the same thing happened about a month ago when something else came up that pushed things back because it was supposed to be done by now. I think Damien is just so used to having the rug yanked out from underneath him that I think he's just, and rightly so in his case, he sees any kind of delay, anything that happens is somebody's trying to stop it. Somebody's trying, because imagine how hard this is for him and for Jason and Jesse and everybody that's involved in this, to where you fight and you fight and you fight for all these years, 35 years now, and you finally get to the point where you think it's finally going to happen, and then the rug gets yanked out underneath from you. And I think that's just how he's feeling. I haven't talked to Damien in the last 24 hours since this stuff is shaken out. But that's it. The official word I can tell you right now, and hopefully we'll know more again by Friday. That's the problem. We're recording these on Tuesdays. By Friday, things may have changed. The official word right now is everything's still moving forward. It's just a delay due to somebody being sick, and it's still going to be happening any day now. But that, I think Damien is just having we've talked about this so many times before. It's a very difficult thing to hope and get excited about something, because you go through those stages of grief, and you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm just accepted where things are at, and I'm okay, and I'm moving on with my life. And then it's like, well, here's a way but now we can change it. And then you have to break through all those walls again to get back to it. And so I think every little setback feels like it's going to be the end again.
Yeah.
But hopefully, I would love to tell you this, that Damien, Jesse, and Jason are all pushing to get this done. Prosecutor seems to be on board with it, and it should be happening in a matter of days. It should be, as far as we know. So, and with that being said, I know short one, we didn't have a whole lot to talk about. I need to do some reading about, see what the hell is going on with Adnan's case.
Yeah, same.
So this weekend's gonna be a little bit. We've been doing mostly interviews. This isn't gonna be an interview. I've got kind of actually have an old episode that I want to kind of refresh for a number of reasons, which I'll explain in the episode. But also, I'm going to kind of give you guys an update. The plan is for the first part of that, before that, is for me to give you an update on what's going on. I actually had the script for that all written based on what I thought was going to happen today. And then now it hasn't happened. So so now I'm in that kind of holding pattern, probably waiting till Thursday or Friday to record once I know better what's going on. So that'll be coming on Sunday. Sundays will be, I'll put any updates in there about Adnan's case if we know them. But it's going to be really focused on what's happening with the West Memphis 3 case and a little bit educating for things we may have coming up soon. So that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Thanks for listening. Thanks everybody in the live chat, especially Teresa. Thanks for adding all that context to the stuff about Jody. We appreciate that. We'll talk to you guys next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, guys.
All right. Hit end on that. Oh, that Adnan thing. Why is it always right when we're in the middle of a live stream?
It is.
As soon as I saw it, I started like trying to get information about it.
I know, same.
Well, I had seen earlier, and I don't know if it was from this, because I saw Rabia, it was like on Instagram or something. She made a post that said her and Colin were going to do something. Let's see if I can find it. They're going to do something, I think they said on Thursday. Where is it? Rabia.
Well, the thing about this is like everything that was posted within the time we were on.
Right.
So it just came out.
So late.
So before that, Robbie had posted earlier today. Join us this Thursday as we debrief tomorrow's big hearing. So that is So there's apparently supposed to be a hearing tomorrow, Wednesday.
The hearing I think is on him being sentenced as an adult when he was a juvenile. So I think that's like a separate.
Okay, gotcha.
So hopefully that, which Ivan Bates has been in support of, and I've appreciated the chat about that, y'all.
Yeah, it seems like from the chat that seems to still be basically. It sounds like Ivan Bates is saying like, I'm not going to overturn the conviction, but I want to resentence him so that this can just be over, which sucks because that just means it doesn't get investigated.
Well, I'm dying to read that memo. I'm dying to read that memo where he says Marilyn Mosby was thrown out of office. So I'm just interested. It's going to be a total bummer if it's like, because I do want things to be done the right way. Like if she did wrong in the way that she went about this, I can appreciate I can appreciate not wanting something like that. You want it to be fair.
Yeah. From what Zach read, that they're claiming that Ivan Bates is saying that some of the information she used in the motion to vacate was false. Which, if that's the case, then but what would be amazing
is just like don't use. That's what we always say. Like, don't use bad facts for a good cause, because this is what kind of shit that happens.
Right. What would be amazing would be if he throws that motion out because there's bad, there's stuff that's factually inaccurate in it, but then comes back and files a new one with factually accurate information. Would be fantastic.
That would be.
No, maybe he's hoping for too much.
Yeah, I'm trying to read to see if there's anything, but it's so much. It's so much.
No, I'll do some reading between now and Thursday. I'm going to end the live stream so I can tell you guys what's going on because I can't really share everything.
Live stream. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, sorry, guys.
You guys meet me at the corner of, and I'll tell you everything.